justice and peace and equality.
Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast, where change starts with conversation. And today we have my guy, Mr. Carlos Moore, candidate for Congress, District 13, Congressional District. How you doing today, sir?
Man, I'm good. How you making it?
Man, good. It's good to have you in the studio. Political season is upon us. What happens in this climate? What climate are we in the political season?
Man, we're living in perilous times. I was watching today, President Trump is now deploying the National Guard on the streets of Washington, D.C. for no reason, really, no justifiable reason. I mean, the crime is actually down, but he's trying to militarize the police and use the Army, the National Guard against civilians. And I think that is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous road to go down. This man is becoming more and more of a dictator every day.
Wow. And how does this affect the American people when, what should we call it, like martial law happens?
It's not a good thing. I mean, you saw what he did in California. The governor didn't call for him to bring the National Guard there. A few weeks ago, he sent the National Guard to California uninvited, and so he's just trying to. The Constitution and the laws say that you're not supposed to use the military against our own citizens.
Right.
And so he's violating the law constantly, and so that's one reason I want to stand up to the man and get to Congress, because somebody has to stop him and make him follow the law.
Okay. So you're running for Congress, Congressional District 13. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. What does that picture look like, and what platform are you running on?
I'm running as a Democrat for Congressional District 13. That's 6 counties in the Metro Atlanta area: Clayton County, Henry County, DeKalb, Newton, Rockdale, and Gwinnett counties. And so I'm running to make a difference. I'm running because I'm a trained fighter, battle tested. I was a lawyer for 22 years. I was a judge for 6.5 years. And so I know the Constitution backwards and forwards. I know the law. I've interpreted the law as a judge. And so we need a battle tested and proven fighter serving as the representative for the people these days. Trump is an ever-present threat to our democracy. And so I'm running to make a difference. And what we have now is not cutting it. The people are asking for a change. They're asking for more. And they deserve more, and so that's why I'm running. I'm Carlos Moore, and I'm going to give the people more.
It seems like in this climate, 2020, 2024, leading up to 2024, the African American community, they were feisted on moving people, African Americans, up the ladder to represent them. Do you think African American people, as well as minority people, have received the representation that they were supposed to? Are they still fighting? Are they compromising? What's going on? Because if Trump is doing this, who's giving Trump that pushback to say, hey, we will not stand for this?
You have Hakeem Jeffries, who is the House Minority Leader, Democrat black guy out of New York, that's doing all he can. Should the Democrats take control of the House in 26, Hakeem will become the first black Speaker of the House. Okay. So that would be a monumental change for African Americans. So Hakeem is my frat brother. I know him well. So I'm running to be a strong lieutenant of his, because when he gets in there as a speaker, he's going to need some strong force lieutenants to help defeat Trump. And so I want to be there as one of his right-hand men to make sure we give Trump a run for his money.
Man, we definitely need that. Going in right now with what we have in the climate of economic development, representation in this particular district, what are you looking to change in this district to make things better? We've had the representation of Congressman David Scott, who's been boots on the ground. We obviously have other people who are running. What separates you from the rest of the pack? Because I believe it's like 4 or 5 other people running for this seat. What separates you from the rest of the pack?
What separates me is my training, my preparation for a time such as this. Okay. This is not normal. This is not normal times we're living in. Congressman Scott served well during the normal times, but this is not normal. Bush is not in office. Obama's not in office. Biden's not in office. We have Trump, and the second version of Trump with unlimited powers. The Supreme Court has given Trump immunity. He can do anything he wants while he's president now, with no criminal prosecution. He's not at risk for anything. So unless we can stop him from passing some of these crazy laws, we are just pretty much stuck. We're doomed. But I do believe that the House can be the check on Trump come 26 in the midterms. And so what we need to do is not have a seat holder. We need to have a fighter Congressman Scott, unfortunately, is not able to give the district what he could 20 years ago.
Right.
He's now 80 years of age. An 80-year-old man can't do what a 60-year-old man, and a 60-year-old man can't do what a 40-year-old man can do. I'm in my 40s. I got plenty of energy. I got a 14-week-old son at the house now, and gonna have another child after this. So I'm still in my prime. I'm ready to go.
Hey, and when we look at it, man, and I think that's one of the biggest problems in the African American community. We have a big problem in passing the torch.
Correct.
It's like we gotta die with the gavel going to the grave. Tell us why do you feel like we're not molding leaders for tomorrow and today? You know, why are we holding on to the gavel so hard? Why don't we have that practice in our community so that we can have the right leadership and mold the right leadership for the generation that seeks that generation?
I think it's just more about folks being selfish. I mean, that's the only thing I can see. People are more concerned about their own livelihood or their own self-interest than the people. I'm all about the people. I'm 48 now. You can rest assured I don't want to be a congressman at 80 years of age.
Correct.
You have to know you have to build a deep bench and prepare somebody to take your place. And so once you've done all you can do, pass the baton. Don't have it taken from you. Just pass it on.
Correct.
And that's all you have to do. But so many times people get in there and they want to die in office. They get selfish. They like the power and the prestige. But I'm not here for the power and prestige. I'm here and running to make a difference. I want to get in there and make a difference for my son, your son, our grandkids, and get out the way.
Okay. Now you have a background in law enforcement. I know you were a judge for 6 after reading the resume. Mm-hmm. Tell us some of the things that you went through as a lawyer. Give us a little bit background of who Carlos Moore is and some of the things you went through in your journey before running for Congress.
Okay. I'm a first generation college graduate. Went on to law school on scholarship and then became a lawyer in 2002. Okay. And so I worked for a small firm for about 4 years, 3.5 years before I started my own firm in 2006 at the age of 28. And so was born to a single mother in Mississippi, so we were poor. Nobody had ever finished college, but we always dreamed big. She told me I could do whatever I put my mind to, so we went through high school, we excelled in school, we finished as a salutatorian, got scholarship to go to college at the University of South Alabama. I was very involved with the Black Student Union. I was president of that 2 years during my college years. So I've always been people-centered, fighting for the people. When I was in school, just to go back to the mid-'90s to the late 90s, I can remember fighting to get the MLK holiday off at the college. Okay. Because what they did, all the other holidays, you had classes canceled for day and night.
Wow.
And then for MLK holiday, they did not give us the entire day off. And so I petitioned the board and we got the entire day off just like the regular other holidays. I don't accept second class treatment. Correct. You give us a half a holiday. No, Dr. King deserves a full day and night classes need to be canceled like every other holiday. And we petitioned, we got that done through the Black Student Union and the Board of Trustees. Okay. So I've always been known to be a fighter. I was on the board in the National Black Law Students Association when I got to law school. Okay. I was a national treasurer for that. So we fought for different issues to get more law students in college, law schools or whatever across the nation. And then fast forward to becoming a lawyer. I started my own firm in February 2006, and I had my first civil rights case in December of 2006. Right. And I've been doing civil rights cases. I did civil rights cases from 2006 all the way to 2024.
Okay.
So a long time fighting on behalf of the people, John Doe, and that's been very near and dear. So I did personal injury, civil rights, and criminal defense. Okay. So anybody can come off the street and hire me. And we would go to bat for him.
Right. Okay. And in some of the criminal defense now, in research some of the background, you had worked closely, I believe it was the Johnny Cochran firm as well. Yeah. All right. What was that experience like? Because not so many people get to work for Johnny Cochran firm.
It was a great experience. They had saw what I had been doing on my own with our own firm, the Carlos Moore Law Group, and they approached me in 2018 about partnered with them, and so my firm merged with their firm, with the Cochran firm in 2019. Okay. And we stayed with it for 4 years, from 2019 to 2013. I was the managing partner of the Cochran firm Mississippi Delta office. Okay. And so that was great. We had partners from New York to California with the Cochran firm. We learned from some of the best and worked with some of the best, and it was a positive thing. So Johnny has always been my person I looked up to. I watched incessantly the OJ trial back when I was in high school.
Yes.
And I can recall being a freshman in college when that verdict came out in October of '95.
Yes,
and Johnny pulled off a win, and it was unheard of for a black man to be facing a murder charge of not one but two people and beat the system. The system has been stacked against black people forever. A black man was able to get a black man off a murder charge, and so I was very proud that he was able to defeat the system, because the system has been against us for so long. And so if the glove did not fit, he told them they had to quit. And that's what they did.
He had to quit.
And so to be asked to join this firm, even after he had passed, it was an opportunity I could not turn down. And so I did, and I joined the firm for 4 years as a partner.
Okay. And through that time, you had a chance, I believe, to deal with, was it the Kyle Rittenhouse case? I believe it was?
Yes, during the Kyle Rittenhouse, I actually became president of the National Bar Association during my term as a partner with the Cochran firm.
Okay.
So they really supported me when I ran for that position, which put me over the 6,000 or 7,000 black lawyers and judges across the country.
Wow.
And so I served a year as president from 21 to 22. And then I believe during my term as president, the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict came out. And we saw that he was acquitted.
Yes.
He was a white guy, was let off for killing basically two black people, and I just simply commented on that, saying that the roles were reversed. If a black guy had done that to two white guys, he would have been convicted.
Yes,
9 out of 10. But this white guy got a pass, and he clearly was not, in my opinion, it was not justified
At all.
And so race does play a part in the criminal justice system.
Right.
And so I'm always speak truth to power. I'm going to tell it just like I see it. I don't care what my title is. I'm not going to mislead the people.
Correct.
Some people thought as a judge, a sitting judge at that point, even though it was in Mississippi, not Minnesota, Wisconsin, whatever, that I shouldn't have been commenting. But I just tell the people how I see it. I call a spade a spade.
Yes.
If racism played a part in that verdict, it just played a part of it in that verdict, in my opinion.
Now, even as an African-American attorney, African-American spokesperson, you don't hold back any punches. I can see from the fights that I read. Like, tell us where that boldness, that courageous come from. Because coming from Mississippi, we've heard the stories, black men getting drugged by trucks, hanged in trees. I mean, Mississippi was one of the first grounds of slavery where slavery was breeded real heavy. So what gave you that ammo to say, you know what, I'm not taking this, man, we fighting back?
My mother always told me I was no better than anyone, but I was no worse. I was good. I was just as good as the next man, next boy growing up. So I always saw myself as equal. I didn't see myself as being beneath anybody. White man, red, yellow.
Come on now.
I was equal, and my rights were paramount and just as equal as the white man's. And so if anytime I have seen an injustice, I have not been afraid to speak up. And so that's been from a child. I've always been the one that they elected to be the student representative or whatever, to be the voice, student body president, going back to high school and junior high. So I've been the voice for people for a long time because I've been unabashed.
Yes.
It's just something innately in me that makes me speak up. They tell me my dad, even though he wasn't a lawyer, if something would go wrong, and he died when I was 15, but my aunts and everybody else telling me, they say if something went wrong in the community, he was the one to speak up for him. So it's just in me.
Okay.
It's just in me. Yeah.
Man, that's good, man. We're going to go to a commercial break, man. We got Carlos Moore, Law Group. Carlos Moore for Congress, Congressional District 13, Georgia. You guys stay tuned. Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast, where change starts with conversation. Ease up.
Georgia. In America, we are in what many may call dark days. This is not a game. We are in a crisis that has many in communities across this state and in the nation feeling uncomfortable and, quite honestly, scared and unsure of what tomorrow will bring. In this moment, we need someone that's ready and willing to pull us out of darkness and step into the light of our greatest potential. It is not enough for us to fight against the powers that be, but we also need to fight for something. I desire to fight for you and your family as I announce my candidacy to become governor of Georgia. As governor, I will be that champion. I want to ensure your rights are protected. Civil rights, reproductive rights, human rights,
women's rights,
LGBTQ rights. I want to protect you from being abducted in our streets. I understand that climate and the environment is important. You deserve clean air to breathe and fresh water to drink. A governor that believes all Georgians deserve good paying jobs, safe homes, and access to affordable health care. But a governor also that believes that giving birth to children in this state should not be a death sentence. Who do we have that is going to lead us to brighter days? A husband, father, business executive, entrepreneur, military veteran. We need someone to restore hope. We need a governor on day one who is ready to battle against the Trump policies, the Republican agenda, and protect the citizens in this state. Every day I will wake up with your family on my mind. I am ready to be a champion for you. Elect me, Derek Jackson, for governor.
Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast, where change starts with conversation. We're back with Mr. Carlos Moore of Carlos Law Group, running for Congress, Congressional District 13 of Georgia, covering Metro Atlanta, Georgia, Gwinnett County. Is it Fulton County in that district or something?
Not this time.
Not this time.
Gwinnett, DeKalb, Henry, Rockdale, Newton, Clayton.
Okay. Now you're coming in this election where it's a very unique time because we're in a state where Metro Atlanta is progressing, with a lot of diversity, right? What does diversity mean to you in this area? And we know Atlanta is prominently black, but Metro Atlanta is a diversified location. What role does diversification play for you in this platform, that leverages you and give you the advantage to go for the win?
I think I have a unique position out of all the candidates. Of course, I'm African American, but I'm also married to a native immigrant out of Trinidad. So
Okay.
she is of Asian American Indian background.
Okay.
So we know Gwinnett County has a lot of Indian Americans over
Wow.
there, and so we believe we can speak to the Indian Americans. Of course, I have a Hispanic name. I think we can speak to Hispanics. Of course, we can speak to the African Americans. So there's a lot of diversity across the board in the district, and so we can speak to all segments of the diversity. People of color across the board, we want to be their representative for the people. And then even the liberal whites, we're inviting them into the fold, the Democrats across the board, to be their representative.
Right. Now, the Democratic Party, facing the loss that it just faced with Donald Trump, the presidency, what do you feel like the state of the Democratic Party is today, and how can that party become stronger and unified with the more meaningful overall pitch towards the entire community? And, coming kind of different, because the Democratic Party has came with a bunch of things that I think we can't just say vote for me because I'm black. So what principles are the Democratic Party actually standing on that's going to, make people say, I want to vote Democrat?
Yeah, I believe the Democratic Party is at a crossroads, and what I do know is that we cannot continue to do the same thing and expect different results.
Yes.
We have gone along to get along for far too long. The people are looking for bold change, people that's not afraid to speak up and speak out and to actually fight for what they want.
Right.
If they send a representative to Congress, to D.C., to fight for something, they expect them to fight and have a backbone. They don't expect you to be hidden and shy and abashed, but get out there and fight for people, fight for democracy, fight for justice. And so that's the type of person I am, and that's the type of person that I'm hearing that the people want to serve as their representative in Congress. And so we will get out there and we will fight to save the social safety net. We believe Social Security should not be privatized, as Republicans want. We need to leave it alone, let it be there for the seniors and for those that's coming behind them. We need to make sure Medicare and Medicaid are preserved. We don't need to privatize that. Don't mess with that so some guy can go get rich off of the privatization or whatever. I want to make sure that the veterans are taken care of. We have too many veterans that go serve this country faithfully, come back and cannot get the health care they deserve. And so we want to make sure that we strengthen and not dismantle the Veterans Affairs Department and the VA. We also want to make sure the education department is preserved. You see, he's trying to dismantle that. We need more folks going to college, or more folks getting trades or whatever. The world is changing. AI is taking over, and people are going to have to be educated in probably different areas than we were educated in. Normally, when I was coming up, your parents told you way to get out the hood. You're gonna either be a doctor, or you're gonna be a lawyer. That's gonna get you out the hood. You're gonna play basketball. You're gonna try to be an entertainer. One of those 4 methods was the sure way to get out the hood. But now with a 14-week-old son at the house, I don't know. They telling me they got robots as doctors now over in China, so that's on the way. So I might not tell my son to be a doctor. I may have to steer him towards computers or AI or something because the world is changing, and you have to have leaders that grow with the time. You cannot be segmented, or you be left behind. And so I advance with the times. I want to be there and be relevant and speak to the issues of the day. And so those are the things I would be fighting for. I'm also concerned about what's going on in Israel. I believe somebody needs to be speaking out about the genocide. It's not fair to be having all those kids starving in Gaza. They didn't do anything to deserve that. Kids, you starving them out and you just haphazardly killing people. That's not right. I believe Israel deserves a state of its own, but the Palestinians deserve a state. Yes. So I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not in anybody's pocket. And so when I get to Congress, I'm going to speak truth to power. I'm going to do what's right and what's humanitarian.
Now we're going back to we talking about the kids over there hungry. We have a situation where Trump is talking about cutting SNAP benefits. What kids over here suffering, parents who we have a crisis of single parenting, that type of thing. What can we do as a community to take care of the kids that are here? Because as eating is something that a lot of kids suffer from in Metro Atlanta. It looks rich, but we got a lot of people who like to drive Beamers and Bentleys, and the kids ain't eating at home, But how do we fight that crisis of making sure the Republican Party doesn't stick the hammer to those who can't afford simple SNAP benefits, or can't afford their kids to eat without the SNAP benefits?
Yeah, if I'm elected, I would definitely get out there and fight to preserve SNAP benefits and preserve student lunches, free student breakfasts and meals. We know some kids in the district, the only nutritional meal they get is the one they get at school.
That's right.
The free breakfast and free lunch. And so Trump and his regime is only concerned about the top 1%. But you have to have somebody that's concerned about the everyday mom and pop and their kids and how they're going to eat. Even the summertime feeding program that the federal government has been sponsoring for years, sometime to continue for those young people to get meals during the summer while school is out. They have been funding this summer program, but this time Trump is trying to take money throughout this summer away from that, and that's not what we need. Those kids need to be fed 12 months out of the year.
Right. And when we go with ensuring that when we look at the economic state of this district, right? Gwinnett County, of course, corporate area. Henry County, Clayton County, more so warehouse and industrial. What's your plan to bring? And a lot of people, let me kind of back up, because a lot of people from here travel up north to Gwinnett County to work, right? So when it comes to economic development, we're living in Henry County. Prices are high as all outdoors. But we have to go to Gwinnett County to work and, work in those high tier positions unless you're an entrepreneur, you own your own business, something of that nature. What's your plan to bring quality jobs to this part of the district, ensuring that, we can live, work, and play in the areas that we live? What's your plan?
I think we need to have laws that attract industry across the board to the various counties within the district. Okay. So if we have a good tax structure or incentives to people not only to go to Gwinnett, but to come down to Clayton or Henry, we need to do that. Right. And so we also need to get the price of gas down. I mean, traveling to several counties away to go to work, and the gas prices are what they are, is not good. So we need to bring down the price of oil or gas so that it can be affordable. We also need to bring down the price of eggs. Trump said when he got in office, he was going to bring down the price of eggs on day one. The price of eggs is continuing to go up. And so we really got to get a handle on it. He's raising the cost of labor. I mean, he's sending all these immigrants back to their home countries or just whatever country he chooses. Is somebody has to work these fields, these fruits and vegetables, and get them picked and all of that, and get the produce to the stores. And so he's doing things that's really setting us backwards and helping us go forward. And so I'll be in favor of a pathway to citizenship for some of these immigrants. And I'm definitely not going to send the ones that's not criminals he said he was only going to focus on the criminals, but in his mind, just because you are over here illegal, you're a criminal. When we talk about hard criminals, people that's violent, violent criminals are the ones that need to be focused on sending out the country, but not the people that's just trying to make a living. Like I said, my wife, she didn't get her citizenship till she was 18, so she's a citizen now of the U.S., but her parents got her over here and she got educated, but she didn't get a green card to 18 years of age.
Wow.
And so she's been first generation college and first generation physician. So she's making, being a productive citizen of the United States. And I think we should be glad to have her.
Right. And with Trump policies, he says that, like we run a call center here, and he says he wants to, stop outsourcing jobs to, out of countries and everything, and those foreign countries, and bring those jobs back to the U.S. Is that something that you follow parallel with, or do you think we should diversify the job market and what business goes to U.S. citizens, or this global trade that we're on? Like, how do you feel about that? Because there's a lot of people saying, well, if we send the jobs over to Thailand or whatever, it takes away from the American economy. If we keep the jobs over here, it builds the American economy. What's your stance on that in building the economy?
I can see both viewpoints, because as a small business owner for years running my own law firm, you try to get the cheaper labor cost.
Okay.
And the cheaper labor cost is if you can get a paralegal overseas in India or some third world country to do what somebody over here is going to charge you an arm and leg for. From a business owner's perspective, it's better to get that same thing done cheaper by getting the labor across seas.
Yes.
But from a person that's over here, I am in favor of raising the minimum wage. I believe the minimum wage needs to be raised to probably $15 an hour. It's been $7.25 forever, so it's time for the minimum wage to go up, and you pay a man what he's worth or whatever. And so I do believe there are ways that we can do this where everybody's happy. So raise the minimum wage, but I think from a business owner's perspective, if he can make more money getting some of this foreign labor remotely, we have to take advantage of technology. And I think he pays the taxes, and he's building the business stays solvent, and it's able to employ more people because you give him let them take advantage of the technology. Correct.
So, and from a business owner standpoint, we could definitely see it plays both ends, positive and negative. And I think we need balance all across the board. However, when it comes to, I was just speaking with my mom, and my mom asked me, she said, Andrew, how is the tariffs affecting your business? What is your plan to, it seems like tariffs are playing a big role in the way people advertise, people market, people spend their money, where their money is going. What's your plan with the tariffs and the way that the White House, Trump, is going about it?
I believe my role would be to hold Trump's feet to the fire. I believe Congress or the Senate has a role in tariffs. I don't believe he should unilaterally be just upping the tariffs and placing tariffs on different countries, because the citizens, we are going to have to pay more at the stores now. For more for automobiles, more for groceries, more for this and more for that. And so it's hurting us versus helping us to the common Joe. Now, it may be making somebody rich in the top 1%, but for us, the common man, it's hurting us. Those tariffs, the extra costs are being passed on to the citizens. And so we are already in a crisis economically and struggling to make ends meet. And so tariffs are not helping us. And so I think the Senate or the Congress should have a role, as the Constitution says and the law says, and I think we hold Trump to the fire and not just go along to get along. Right now, the Republicans are giving him a rubber stamp. Whatever he says goes, but the Democrats, we're going to fight back and be the saving grace for this country.
Right. Now, it seems like Trump has a way of dividing the African American community, people of minority. He took out the Black Lives Matter initiative. It seems like every time someone fights and says, hey, man, we're going to stand up, we're going to rally the people, he finds a way to intertwine, dismantle the movement, dismantle, the coalition, and people are saying, well, you know what, I want to do this, I want to do that. What are some of the things we can do as minorities and African American community unifying this time? Because we've almost got to the point where we don't even know who to trust on the Democratic side. How can we unify so that we can get back in a position of power and make sure we're practicing fairness across the board?
We have to find a leader that we can trust and get behind. I know Reverend Jamal Bryant. I happened to go to his church, New Birth, and I know he did the Target boycott. And you had a lot of us that got behind that. Then you had some decided that they weren't gonna get behind it just because they didn't come up with it. And so, but Target had promised Black people a lot of money after George Floyd and said they were gonna do this for diversity. They went back on their word, and so we boycotted. And then you had certain churches that decided to take $75,000 from Target, which was asinine. I mean, $75,000 for a whole organization, National Baptist Convention. You taking $75,000, and you know we boycotting this big behemoth of an organization. And so we have to find, we have to stop having the crab in the bucket mentality and just get behind somebody that we trust. And Days of Dr. King, we pretty much got behind him. There were those that probably preferred Malcolm, but Dr. King, we pretty much got behind him and we were able to get some things done. I mean, we just celebrated, 60 years of the Voting Rights Act the other day, last week. And so that was all because of the efforts we were united. But when we're united, we can get some great things done. The Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, all that was done when we got behind the right leader. And so now we kind of just, everybody's doing their own thing.
Yes. Now, and I know for all my elderly people who are watching, who, they're thinking Social Security, they're thinking, I can't work. Like you said, what I did at 60, I can't do at 80. What I did at 40, I can't do at 60. What do you say to that older person out there, that elderly, that seasoned saint that's sitting in the church and that's giving their tithes and offering out of their Social Security income, doing the best that they can? What do you say to them to give them hope for a better tomorrow?
I tell them, hold on, change is coming. They've seen worse. They actually lived through the Jim Crow era. I mean, I heard about it being born in the late 70s, but they lived through it, and they came through that. They had John Lewis, who I had the opportunity to meet a few times before he died. He told me about his skull being crushed and trying to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge, simply trying to preserve the right to vote. And so right now, what we have going on, Trump is trying to turn back the hand of time with the DEI, but they're not crushing skulls yet. If we made it through that, we'll make it through this. But hope springs eternal, and every generation has its fight, and we have a different fight now with what Trump is trying to do. He's making it unpopular to say DEI. He's making it unpopular to be woke. He doesn't want people to learn Black history in the schools. And it's pretty terrible, but we have to continue to fight. We have to refuse to stay silent, because the moment we stay silent, our lives begin to end. The moment we stay silent about things that matter. And so I'm never going to be silent. I'm always going to speak out and speak loud about what I believe.
Man, recently we had former mayor of Macon, Robert Reichert, and former mayor C. Jack Ellis on the show. And they were talking about the high-speed motor rail, improving transportation. What's your take on improving infrastructure in Georgia and bringing Georgia up to the modernization of worldwide transportation? What's your take on that?
I think from a federal perspective, as a congressman, I will be supportive of improving the infrastructure regionally. And so right now you have MARTA right there that serves Atlanta proper and maybe some of the immediate outskirts, but some of the other parts of Metro Atlanta that's further out, we don't have the best infrastructure. The streets need to be improved. You need more trains, buses, public transportation, and so I'm in favor of that. And it takes federal dollars supporting those kind of efforts, and so I will fight for the bacon to come home to the district.
Absolutely. I believe Senator John Ossoff raised he acquired about $8 billion towards the high-speed rail I-75 corridor coalition movement. We're going to talk more about that, but we got to go to another commercial break before we let you go. We got Carlos Moore, the Carlos Law Group, Carlos Moore for Congress, Congressional District 13 of Georgia. You guys stay tuned. Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast, where change starts with conversation. Ease up.
This is the most perilous time that I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. I have a 1-month-old son, and I'm very afraid that his future could be a lot darker than mine has been. I'm Carlos Moore, former judge, husband, father, community leader, and now candidate for Congress. I'm running because our families deserve a leader who actually shows up. My natural born instinct has always been to fight. When I was in Mississippi, I challenged the governor about the state flag. I didn't think that it was right for the state flag to have the Confederate emblem.
Moore contends the flag is, quote, state-sanctioned hate speech.
You've gotten death threats,
Folks have been trashing you on Facebook.
I've chosen to raise my son here in Georgia, and I believe the people of District 13 deserve a fighter. When they get up every day, they go to work, don't complain, and just try to do the best they can to put food on the table, keep the lights on, and do right by their loved ones. They deserve a government that will help them get ahead and not put them further behind. We don't want to go back. We're not going back, not without a fight. Right now, it's so much going wrong, it's almost hard to see what's going right. The economy is out of whack, taken from the poor to give to the rich. My wife is a native of Trinidad. That's to be celebrated, not to be demonized. There continues to be gun violence across Georgia, and democracy is actually at risk. This moment is calling for more. Together we will walk hand in hand, fighting for our future, fighting for our freedom. It's time for all gas and no brakes. I would not be a congressman when I made it. That they can rest assured, because every generation should get better than the preceding generation. The people are ready for a change, and I'm ready to help deliver it.
At A New Well, we believe every day should be lived with dignity, comfort, and care. Located in the heart of Stockbridge, Georgia, our Adult Day Center offers a safe, welcoming environment where compassion meets quality service. Whether your loved one needs daily support, engaging activities, or just the warmth of a friendly smile, we're here. At A New Well, we provide high-quality care, either in our beautiful facility at 931 Rock Quarry Road or from the comfort of their own home. Our dedicated team ensures every individual lives life to the fullest. And with Medicare Advantage and other insurance options accepted, peace of mind comes standard. So when you're ready to give your loved one the care they deserve, call A New Well today at 1-800-341-0120. That's 1-800-341-0120. Or visit anewwellinc.com, where care, comfort, and compassion flow together.
Hey. Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast, where change starts with conversation. We're back with Mr. Carlos Moore, the Carlos Law Group, Carlos Moore for Congress, Congressional District 13 of Georgia, covering Gwinnett County, Henry County, Clayton County, all of the above. I'm right here, man. I'm from the Congressional District myself, man. So we're looking to see what platform Mr. Carlos Moore is standing on, what he's fighting for the people. Now, your background, you're from Mississippi, so you just kind of moved to Georgia. And a lot of people know you from a national platform, right? They know you from seeing you out on the TV, fighting for social justice. Right here in Georgia. Why Georgia?
Why Georgia? I moved to Georgia and decided to raise my son here because I fell in love. Just happened to fall in love with someone that was already living in Atlanta. I met her, and she was already living here, even though she was from Miami. We decided to make this our home, so we bought a place together in 23.
Okay.
And then we just had our son in April of this year, and we believe this is a great place to raise him. And so we're committed to this area. And any place I've lived, I've always tried to make it better.
Okay.
And so I looked around to see, listening to people, and people were complaining about District 13 and not having the representation they needed. And so that's why I decided to run, because I had a choice, being the father of a young son, a 14-week-old. Do we fight or do we flee? And I've always been a fighter, so I decided to stay and fight. Trump is not, he's a man just like I'm a man. He puts his pants on one pants leg at a time, and so I'm willing to challenge him. I'm not afraid, but somebody has to set up to a bully. Otherwise, bullies will continue to terrorize you and take over. They're going to steal your lunch money every day if you let them.
Yes, they definitely will.
Junior is going to know. You take care of them that first time and try to take your money, they won't do it the next day.
Man, most definitely. And being that you're coming into a fight now, we have about 5 candidates in the race, and some people are at the point where they're saying, hey, we know David Scott's time is up. We have Senator Emanuel Jones running. A lot of controversy around his name. A few other people running. When it comes down to it, how do you plan to reach the people and so the people know hey man, Carlos Moore can be touched? Because people saw you on TV. They've seen you fight the big cases. What makes you reachable and touchable and acclimated to the people where they can say, he's someone I can trust?
I actually like getting out among the people. They will find me at the football games. this fall, the basketball games. They will see me in Walmart, the grocery stores, Kroger, Publix. I mean, I'll get out among the people. I like meeting new people. I'll be at the churches. So we are not just going to rely on a digital campaign or a TV campaign. We actually going to get out in all 6 counties where across the district and actually meet the people where they are. And so I'm gonna come to them, get to know them and their families. And so anyone that wants to host things at a coffee shop or barber shop or whatever, we're willing to get out there and meet the people where they are, because you have to know the folks that you represent, because it's not me and my ideas. I want to listen to the people and take their ideas to Washington, D.C. and represent them and their interest. And so I have to listen to the people to know what they want. And that's what I'm going to get out among them. As I said, no one would have imagined that I would have ever graduated from college or went to law school, because my mother was a poor 19-year-old single mother in Mississippi, the poorest state in the land. No one could envision that I would become successful. So just like I was able to become successful through prayer and hard work, I know there's another young boy just similar situated that may believe that he's destined to go to prison. But no, you can go to the White House, you can go to Congress, you can go be a judge, just like I did. But you got to work hard, listen to your parents, and put your faith in God, and anything is possible.
What were some of those principles? And you talk about growing up as a raised by your mother, strong morals and values, single mother, 19. That had to be hard to come from, and then turning out to be a judge, a lawyer. I mean, the president of the National Bar Association. I mean, what principles and values were instilled in you by mom that made you keep fighting? Because you could have gave up. I mean, a long time ago, man.
Yeah, I took heed to the lessons that she taught me, and basically she raised me in the church. I think that was the key that set it apart. She knew that she had a hard road to toe, and it was going to take God to get us through. So she raised me in the church, and I listened to the principles that she taught me that were reinforced in the church. We had good teachers, good coaches, and everything. I listened, and I tried to avoid some of the hard knocks that I knew that were destined if I didn't listen. I saw some of my cousins and friends go down different roads, and I saw the path that they were going and the hard knocks and with the path that they led, and I wanted to have something different for myself. I knew she couldn't afford to send me to college, so I knew I had to make good grades to get the scholarships. Otherwise, I was going to have to try to get a lot of loans to pay back, but I was lucky enough to be at the top of my class, and I got the scholarships, didn't have to borrow a dime to go to college for the first 4 years, and then got a fellowship to go to law school, and I only had to borrow for 1 year for living expenses. So I was blessed because I listened, and I put my faith in God. And she always told me, you can be whatever you want to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't.
Most definitely.
Your mind over matter determines where you go in life.
Man, that means a lot, and I think when you say your mother raised you in church, Sheriff Reginald Scandrett calls Henry County God's country, and churches on every corner. So these people in this area, they believe in God. They have a good faith, a godly based faith, and the faith community plays a major role in the decision making of who's who in the political arena. So that's very important. Now, before we go, because we want to thank you for taking the time out, because I know you're busy, you're on the run. We want to thank you for taking the time out for sharing your story. Yes. Glad we're able to get you in. Anything you would like to share with our audience from a platform perspective on some of the things you want to do with this platform? What are some of the things you'd like to share with our audience before we go?
Before I go, I just want to reiterate to the audience that you can tell a lot what a person will do in the future based on what they have done in the past, especially when they thought no one was looking. My first day on the bench as a judge, I took away the Confederate flag, Mississippi flag, from my courtroom because I didn't think you should be dispensing justice in front of a racist symbol. And so I had the bailiff to drag the flag out of my courtroom, and the entire time I was a judge, there was never a racist flag in my courtroom. Now, the state changed the flag in 2020 and took that despicable emblem off of the flag, and then I allowed the state flag in my courtroom once it changed. I had to make noise on it. But I'm not going to dispense justice in front of such a treacherous symbol. So I had a backbone. I knew it was my courtroom. I had the authority to run that courtroom, and so I was not going to sit there and have folks come in my courtroom and look at that racist emblem in my courtroom. So you do what you can when you have position. You got to have a backbone, a spine to stand up. Yes. And so if I did that as a municipal judge, when I get to Congress and have the power of a congressman, I'm going to do right by black people. As a judge, I also gave folks a second chance. I started the Do Better ASAP program, where folks, nonviolent offenders, first-time offenders, youthful offenders, got a second chance in my courtroom if they did certain parameters. They kept their record clean. It was called Do Better ASAP. alternative sentence and accountability program. And so
Okay.
if they were in high school making bad grades, making C's and D's, I'll make them pull their grades up to B's and A's, come back in 6 months or whenever the next reporting period was, show me they've improved their grades, and then their record stayed clean. If they didn't have a driver's license, I made them go take the test, get a driver's license, bring back the driver's license, and they kept their record clean or whatever. It could be graduated from high school, going to get a trade. Someone I may get admitted to college, and they kept their record clean. But I did that from the bench because I thought it was the right thing to do.
Okay.
Giving people these big sentences and big fines, that was just making them worse a lot of the times. And so I thought I was creative and came up with things that made society better and made the person better. And so things like that, I would try to work out ways where kids, the youth in the district would have a relationship with me one-on-one.
Okay.
There'd be some kind of leadership council or something I would have for the congressman's district, and I would train those folks and try to start building a bench. I would have to go off the scene one day. Somebody would have to come up behind me and lead the district, and so I want to prepare from the beginning. So internships, whatever I can to get people into the service academies. Reach out to me, and I'm gonna do all I can to help their kids and grandkids.
Man, where's the documentary at, man? Where's the documentary? I mean, you've accomplished so much. Boots on the ground, advocating for injustice of African American people. I mean, is there a documentary? What's out there? Because we can take these bits and pieces from the news, but your story is phenomenal. I think some people are missing it. If we didn't have this interview.
There's no planned documentary, but I document everything on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Okay. A lot of the stuff that I've talked about and did talk about today, it's been documented in real time on Facebook. So if I went back to my Facebook post, my Instagram post, my LinkedIn post, I could get enough coverage for a documentary. But we just do what we think is right and what's best for the people. We've been down too long. And it's our time to rise. And Trump is afraid that we're going to continue to rise because now that we have seen Obama become president, we know the sky's the limit. So generations behind us, they're always going to believe they can do it because it's already been done. I don't care if it was one person, because that was one, there would be a number two, there would be a number three. But it had to take somebody breaking the glass ceiling. It's been broken. He's trying to put us back in the cage, but the bird is out now.
Oh, the bird is
We're not going back in the cage. So.
The bird is definitely out, man. Yeah. Man, and I got one question to ask, man, and I got to ask this, man. How did you stop the KKK from burning a cross in your yard, taking down that flag in Mississippi, man, out of the courtroom? I mean, bro, you was in the war zone.
I was, and it was a very dangerous situation. My wife and mother tried to get me to turn back and not sue the governor about the flag, and they definitely was concerned about my safety. I had probably 8 death threats within a span of 2 years when I was suing the governor about the flag, and once I took the flag out of my courtroom. But I never turned back because my faith was strong enough in God. Okay. I did hire a full-time protection for me and my family at some point when the threats got too bad. But it soon subsided after enough time had passed, and they saw I was not going to turn back. So in the face of death threats, I didn't turn back. I put my faith and trust in God. I knew God had told me, and I felt that He had led me to do certain things. I knew He could protect me, and that's what He did.
Man, that phenomenal effort, man. We definitely want to see that. We definitely want to go in that route. And last but not least, this area of Georgia, education. We talked about infrastructure. We talked about economic development. What is the plan to work along with the education system to improve education resources in this district?
In the district, the federal government role in education will be probably with the IEPs and the Title 7, Title 9 programs to give, especially the kids with disabilities, learning delays. They get federal dollars for the school districts, and so there are federal dollars that I will make sure get to the various school districts within the congressional district, and so that's our role federally. A lot of times it's local taxes and state taxes that support the schools, but there is a role for federal dollars, and I'll make sure that the technology dollars are there. For the special education dollars are there. Okay. And then the gifted dollars from the federal government.
And we talked about, and going back to those kids with special needs, we working. Shout out to A New Well Incorporated. They work with, it's an adult daycare center right here in Stockbridge, Georgia, working with kids who face IDD. What's your plan to, in working with them, making life somewhat normal? For those with special needs? How do we make that, life somewhere as best normal as possible? How do you plan to work with that system and that medical system and making sure that they have just a balanced life, just like the people that we look like is normal?
Yep, that's something that's pretty personal to me. My oldest daughter, my oldest child, she's 14, just got to high school.
Wow.
She's on the spectrum. And so from the time she's was 2.5 or 3, she got diagnosed, we have had to fight to make sure that she's felt included. We could have allowed the school to just put her out to the side, but we fought to have her included in regular classes for them to provide the resources where she could have the assistance she needed, but still be in regular classes. And so she's done that since she was in kindergarten. She's now starting ninth grade, started ninth grade last week. And so it's really, the parents have to really get out there and make the school district do. There's money set aside, there are opportunities, but they only going to do what you force them to do.
Right,
and so you have to go to those IEP meetings, and you have to tell them what you will and will not allow. And so we stayed on them, and they have treated her and given her every resource available so that she could excel in school and get a regular diploma, because they will put you on a track where because you have a special need, they want you just to get a certificate of attendance. We said, no, we want her to actually learn and earn a high school diploma, and you have to do certain things to get a high school diploma, and that's what we have.
That's the standard that you
That's
set.
the standard. So I'll fight for your kids just like I fight for my own.
Man, that's powerful, man. I didn't know that, and I'm glad to see you advocating for that, because that's an area that I believe Georgia needs to pay double or triple attention to when it comes down to it. And going back to something you were talking about with the increase in minimum wage. Georgia's made up of 85% small business owner, entrepreneur, moms and pops, people who run their own business. What can we do, or where do we start to where that minimum wage is increased? Because you got these entrepreneurs saying, well, I can't afford to pay $20. I can't afford to pay $20, $30 or whatever to an employee. That's gonna put me out of business. How do we get the market here in this area where that minimum wage improves and it helps, it suffices for the business owner and the employee?
Now, what we could do is not make it a rule across the board. The minimum wage could be graduated depending on the employer's bottom line. Like if you are only grossing less than $1 million a year, your minimum wage could be something. If it's between 1 and 50 million, it could be another thing. If you're Walmart, one of the biggest employers in the world, your minimum wage should be a lot higher.
Come on.
So what we have been doing is trying to do one wage across the board, but it's not one size fits all possibly. So there could be something that protects the small businesses. Maybe they only do $10 an hour if you're grossing less than $1 million, or grossing less than $3 million, and then something between 3 and 15, maybe 15 an hour, and then if you just doing very well in multiple cities and states, maybe your minimum wage could be 20 or 25, so it could be graduated.
Man, I like that. And I know we were talking with candidate for governor, Derrick Jackson, and one of his major platforms was improving the wage and the increase in minimum wage. And I think that's a very unique perspective in taking. Before we go, because I know we've had you here for a long time, anything you would like to share with the audience before we go to take it out? Tell us where to follow you on social media. How can people continue to follow you and follow you throughout this campaign?
Yeah, my website is carlosmoreforcongress.com. I have More for Congress on Instagram, More for Congress and More for Georgia on Facebook. We have a TikTok page. You can also follow me on my personal pages, Judge Carlos Moore on Instagram, Carlos Moore on LinkedIn, Carlos Moore on Facebook. And so we're out there. We got a lot of followers and looking for more. And so we will keep you apprised of the campaign and what's going on with the campaign in our lives. And let's work together. Reach out to me, send me a DM, instant message, give me your ideas. I want to hear them, because I'm here to fight for you, and I have to know what you want so that I can fight for what you want.
Voices of the Village podcast, and I'm your host, Mr. Country Fly, Andrew Mallard, and this is my conversation with Mr. Carlos.
Justice and peace and equality. Now the world they will see. That's why.